Today we're going over how to hinge properly, and you're going to, as best as possible, find a dowel around home or whatever. The hinge, the reason why we're doing it is it's applicable to a lot of your lifts. So if you're doing, say, a deadlift or in particular a kettlebell swing, understanding how to do a hinge properly is going to help you keep a safe and healthy spine throughout the movement. So this is stuff that just doesn't get taught enough out there in the industry. So just using this pole and how we're going to do it is going to be pretty fundamental to you. So for now, what we're looking for is, and this will change between, say, a deadlift, a standard deadlift, a sumo deadlift, and even a kettlebell swing. But for now, if we have our feet at about hip width distance, between hip width and shoulder, that's pretty good, and toes shooting forward, and feet active, that's going to help you out a lot. So when I say feet active, make sure you're not having your feet rolling in. So nice and strong there. So with your pole, what I would like to see you guys do in practice is again, this is what we get taught at the Russian Kettlebell certification, is having this pole against our head, what's called an upper or T-spine, and almost sitting in between your glutes. You put your hand in the small of your back, all right, and you want to maintain a bit of a gap there, and hand behind your neck. Now, if this shoulder, say my right shoulder, gets a bit sore, you just swap hands over. For some of you, this might even be a challenge holding the pole in this position because of your shoulder mobility, but we'll get to that, okay? So again, toes shooting forward. From here, my goal is to press my hip back. Keep my shins as close to vertical as possible and go to a sort of 45-degree angle. Now in this position here, I want to feel like my hamstrings are loaded up. Then as I'm coming back, I'm driving my hips forward and standing to attention, okay? So when I say standing to attention, making sure that your knees aren't soft. You don't want to overlock your knees, but just everything nice and straight. We sort of say quads a little bit tight, as well as glutes on, shoulders away from your ears, abs on a bit as well. So again, breathing in, reaching your hip back. So pretend you're reaching your hip back to touch a wall behind you, and then driving forward. What we don't want you doing, now I'm just going to swap my hands over, is doing this as an example, because that's similar to a squat pattern. So yes, the pole's on all those 3 points, but your hip is going up and down. So again, what you're trying to do is make sure that your hip goes back and then your hip goes forward and you're standing tall. Some other things that we don't want you to do is have the pole come off of these 3 points. So if I'm doing this, then I'm rounding my back. So I've got to try and correct myself. So what we do say is try and stick your chest out. That can help you a bit. The other thing, if the pole sort of comes away, say, from your upper back, like it has here, it means I'm sticking my head up too far. So I want you to think, obviously, your spine extends all the way up to your neck. So again, here, if we can have the pole on all those 3 points, reaching your hip back, driving your hip forward and standing tall, then you've got a pretty good base for understanding how to keep your spine nice and strong and straight during a deadlift or a kettlebell swing.